You asked for the growth, and now you feel like everything is falling apart. That clarity that you had, gone. Your body exhausted. Your emotions all over the place. Here is the truth that most people are not going to tell you. We are not treating these symptom by symptom. This is not a breakdown. This is actually a part of the becoming. Welcome back to Resourced. This is the space where we hold the human behind the business and the nervous system behind the strategy. If we have not met, my name is Jessica Reed. I am an intuitive business mentor, a clinical hypnotherapist, EFT tapping practitioner, and creator of the Energies of Success, which is the only way to create a successful, scalable, and business. And today we are diving into a phase that most entrepreneurs misread, one that I am so personally deeply familiar with, and one that I see as a starting point that so many clients come in to work with me for. The somatic, emotional, and energetic signals that don't mean that you're breaking or that you need to give up on your business, that actually mean that you are expanding. This is the part of growth that no one warns you about, where everything that you've outgrown starts to ache on its way out. And that next version of you, she's there. And she's starting to whisper in, but she's hard to hear because the challenges that you are facing, the problems that you are facing, in the ways that they are coming in that you don't see to be related to your business, they are distracting you. So by the end of this episode, you are not only going to understand what is happening in your body, but you are going to know how to hold yourself through it, because your nervous system is not failing you. It is simply being stretched into a new identity. So let's talk about these symptoms first of all, because they are not a problem, but you are likely seeing them as a problem. Symptoms like physical illness, changes in your relationship dynamics, changes in the way that your clients are interacting with you, people dropping away from your world. So often we sit in these challenges and we're sitting there and we're going, what is happening? Something's wrong. But that moment when you said yes to your new level, yes to pitching to the big podcasts, yes to launching the high ticket offer, yes to launching your own podcast, yes to that next thing. And then suddenly your energy crashes and you're tired and you're unclear and you're emotional. You might be thinking, oh my gosh, did I just make a huge mistake? That discomfort, that's not failure. That is your system recalibrating to receive more. The emotional surges, the brain fog, the tight chest, the sudden fatigue, the questioning of your messaging, your prices, your offer, your strategy, your whole business sometimes, your life choices. It is your body releasing that version of you that can't go with you to that next level. But we see these as a setback. I have experienced countless ascension symptoms. And at first, they used to really put me off. And now I get excited by them. So for me, ascension symptoms were coming in the form of physical illness for a long time. As I was moving into holding more space, being a deeper healer, I had purge after purge in the form of stomach bugs. I did a launch a couple of weeks ago and I had my live launch event, and the next day I got a head cold. Previously, every time I would launch, the dynamics in my relationship would change. Okay, this is your upper limit. This is ascension symptoms. I had a great call with someone the other day who framed these as growing pains. He was like, I'm here for this session. It was one of my one on one sessions. He said, I'm here for this session because I have growing pain. And I love that. And sometimes they're going to come in the form of thoughts and old beliefs and stories that are coming up for you to deal with. And sometimes they are going to come up in other ways, like a difficult client who you then is gifting you the opportunity to enforce a new level of boundary. People dropping away from your world. It's actually creating space for new to come in. But you're there going, oh my gosh, these people are leaving me. And we're bringing in fear and scarcity. So that moment when you're ghosted in the DMs, Or that moment when the clarity that you had turns into chaos the minute that you finally raise your prices. Or that moment when that aligned action that you know you need to take in your business makes you want to throw up. This is what I call meeting your edge. Okay. And not the edge of burnout, not the edge of how much you can tolerate, but the edge of your breakthrough. This is where your nervous system says, are we safe to expand into this? Like it's peeking up over the wall, looking over. What's this like? Is it safe? Can we expand into this? And if you don't have the tools to regulate this moment, then you will shrink and sabotage and spiral yourself back into old patterns that feel familiar, that are quote unquote safe, that are keeping you stuck. And there will always be friction inside of you between the part who wants to grow into that next step and the part of you who wants to keep you safe. And guess what? Survival will win if we're not aware of it. So I hear a lot, if it's uncomfortable, it must be misaligned. A lot of women that I work with, they confuse emotional intensity with misalignment. Not all tension is a no. And to be honest, when people are coming into my world, ascension symptoms is generally why they're coming in. There's two levels of awareness that they have. They are either well aware it's an ascension symptom and they are saying that to me. Trying to increase my income. I'm releasing this thing. I'm about to go on a, tour speaking on stages. I'm about to do XYZ. This is a new level. I can see this pattern. It's come back. I can see this sabotage. This is a new sabotage for me. I just became unwell. Whatever it is, they know it's an ascension symptom. They label it a growth pain, an ascension symptom, a next level block. Then I have women come in who are experiencing the same things, but they don't have that level of awareness yet. And that's what I really hope that this episode gives you, is a level of awareness of around your ascension symptoms. Okay, so they're coming in thinking that this emotional intensity is meaning that everything is misaligned. And the clients who are leaving their world, that they're doing something wrong. And that the person saying no is a personal attack. And that the problems in their relationship that happen to come up every time they try and launch, that's just a coincidence. And the illness that comes up when they go to raise their prices or they go to actually launch that new program, but then something takes their attention away and there's a crisis in their life and they have to give all of their energy to that's a coincidence too. And now they're struggling to run their business. None of that is coincidence. It is ascension symptoms. And every time you get to these edges, you're going to be gifted challenges. Okay. Challenges that you can either meet at the same version of you who's having the challenge, or challenges that you can meet as the ascended version of you, in which case it's almost like that ding, 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 you get to pass into the next level. Some tension is growth. Some fear is wisdom. Some fear is trauma. And some fear is just a nervous system learning how to hold a bigger vision. And there is a difference. And you learn to feel and understand the difference and how you experience it as you learn how your body moves through safety, how it expresses the no's, how it expresses the fear and the contraction. Misalignment might feel still, heavy, or certain expansion will feel raw, chaotic, but alive. Your body knows the difference, okay? So you don't need to panic, you need to listen. Because your growth is happening in layers. And there is a timing to this. There is a timing to all of the layers. I did not begin this work from a spreadsheet and a 5-year plan. I began it from navigating one of the deepest, darkest holes that I'd ever been in my life. My body cracked open. Everything that I had suppressed, everything that was ready to come up, the urgency, the proving, the pressure, the beliefs that were ready to come up to be healed did, because I stopped blocking it, because I stopped seeing it all as a challenge that I couldn't get past. And believe me, I have the channel of struggle and the channel of crisis. I've recorded a whole episode on that in my chart. They don't stop. The challenges always come up. But what I have deeply seen, even through the depths of agoraphobia and panic disorder and illness, and even through the depths of some of the hardest times of my life, the PTSD, the hardest times, I know that on the other side of those challenges, that I have so much more to give. I have so much more internal capacity to hold for others. And I have so much more to give and so many lessons to share. And my next level of receiving comes on the other side of every challenge. And I know that deeply. You cannot build a sustainable business from the patterns that you were praised for in survival. Understanding these is so important. You're overgiving, you're overachieving, you're overthinking. So start to observe where your ascension symptoms are coming up for you. What is happening? And again, it might not be directly related to your business. What is happening in your relationship, in your health? What is happening each time you are stepping in? You're saying, I want this thing. I want this next level. I want this experience. What are the things that you are thinking is getting in your way? The buts, the things that seem out of your control, that seem random but are not random, that seem like a coincidence but not a coincidence, the things that seem to always happen every time you try and grow. Have you heard yourself saying that? Every time I try and do this, this happens. Something goes wrong. Well, let's look at that from a different perspective. If that is an ascension symptom, then how do you deal with that differently? Because these mean that something deeper is ready to leave your field. So if you are thinking, why does this feel heavier now that I've said yes? Or why do I feel like I'm grieving my own growth? Because that's a thing too. Then let me be the mirror. Okay? This is the beginning of a sacred reconfiguration. You are stabilizing, you are falling into alignment. And if you're moving through this in between space, but you're not quite anchored yet, then I have a one-on-one container that is the only way to work with me privately outside of a retainer. It is a one-time call, an embodied business mapping session where we will make the invisible clear for you. We will meet whatever needs to be met in your energy, your mind, your strategy, your truth. Okay, so we can refine or redefine what needs to be dealt with from a grounded nervous system and map your next move from alignment, not panic. Okay, your ascension symptoms deserve to be seen, held, and moved through, but bring awareness to them now so they don't sabotage you again next time. And if you would like to book an embodied business mapping session, then these are limited because I highly, highly value my time and my space and my capacity. So we spend 2 hours together, a 2 hour deep dive into whatever is coming up most for you in this moment. We break through, we leave with clarity, leave with mapped out next steps. I'll give you those too that are deeply aligned to you and your nervous system health and your capacity. So come to me with your ascension symptoms in our embodied business mapping session. But also come over to Instagram, jessica.reed.ilc, and let me know, what kind of ascension symptoms do you experience? And I will see you next week inside Resourced.